All right. Thank you again to the AAC for inviting me back to speak on To the Point. I'm your practice management guy these days. I'm going to be talking about how this one belief can be sabotaging your success and happiness. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Lorne Brown. I'm a doctor of traditional Chinese medicine. I used to be a CPA, and I guess that's why I get to do the practice management talks because I have a background as a certified professional accountant. I'm also a doctor of Chinese medicine. My practice is in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. It's called Acubalance Wellness Center. And I'm a fellow of the ABRM. I'm a certified laser therapist. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. And I also use energy psychology modalities in my practice like Psych K, EFT, NLP, RTT, and the Bankston Healing Method. And when I do my practice management, like we're going to talk about today, I like to bring in what I consider the very grounded from my CPA background. And I also like to bring in the spiritual energetic because I think together, the physical and the non physical together is where we really start to experience joy and great success in our life. All right. Let's talk about, oh, and I should mention that I'm the author of Missing the Point, Why Acupuncturists Fail and What They Need to Know to Succeed. So that's me sharing you my credibility factor of who am I and why am I able to share this information with you. This one program that can be this belief that can be sabotaging your success. It can be preventing you from your financial success and happiness. And what I'm going to do is I'm also going to share two simple mind hacks that can help you attract more wealth, more happiness, and joy into your life. I promise you that it's going to be powerful, simple, and effective. That's what I like to do. When I wrote my book, Missing the Point, that was my goal as well. It's so simple what I'm going to share, though, it's at risk of being dismissed, but let's go for it anyhow. Why I wanted to do this topic and share with you this one sabotaging program is because of the emails I get. And I had two very recent ones that reminded me, and that's why I want to do this subject matter. I'm holding back, so I want to keep you here for a moment before I tell you what that sabotaging program is. One email, a presenter, I run healthyseminars.com, an online platform, continuing education. And one of my presenters that's going to do a talk and say it's a 4-hour talk, um, provided me with hundreds and hundreds of extra content to share with the users. Now, I could see through what was going on here. He was overcompensating. So his program is I'm not enough or I'm not good enough. So rather than giving you great content in 4 hours with handouts, he prepared volumes and volumes of extra material, which I have learned by running healthy seminars that a lot of you don't access after the course anyhow. But he wasn't clean on the inside. Where he was coming from is insecurity, not being good enough. And I think about in my own practice, the people I see, they all have different stories. But when I distill down the core belief, I realize we're all more the same than different. We're all running similar programs. And they all core down to me to I am not enough. I'm not good enough. I don't have enough money. I'm not lovable enough. I'm not pretty enough. All these I'm not enoughs. And when you can change that program, then your reality and the opportunities you see and the actions you take change. Therefore, your reality changes as well. I want to share with you a story from Marissa Peer, who teaches rapid transformational therapy that I've been involved in as one of my belief change modalities that I use. And the story she shares is about when she was sent to see a famous and very considered successful director in Hollywood. And he was getting ready to walk off a show. So they were desperate, the organization. They sent her there. And they said, now, and she's from the UK originally. And they said, now, what car are you driving? And she said, well, I'm driving the Mustang, a real beautiful Mustang that you rented for me. You can't park it on his driveway. He only allows Ferraris and Porsches on his driveways. You can't even park it on the road next to his driveway. You need to park it a block away. Fine. She does that. She walks up his driveway, notices all his beautiful cars, is amazed by his house. When she gets into the house, she meets him. The first thing he says, I don't know why they sent you. You're not going to be able to help me. Nobody can help me. I'm a mess. And she says, wow, what a beautiful house, as she looks around at this grand house, this infinity pool. And he goes, this house, I hate this house. I'm going to be moving soon. I hate this house. I hate my neighbors. I hate living here. She goes, oh. And then she notices an award. And I can't remember the name of the award, but some type of academy type award. And she goes, oh my God, you won one of those? And he replies, that's a curse. You know what? Now the bar's been set so high, anything I can do is going to be a failure unless I win another one of those. That thing's a curse to me now. Now anything I do is not good enough. And she said, I know what's wrong with you. And he goes, what do you mean you know what's wrong with me? I figured it out already. You don't think you're enough. Now this triggered something for him because she could see how his facial expression changed and he started to have some tears. And she asked, what do you mean? She goes, you're so empty. You feel so I am not enough on the inside that you're trying to overcompensate in the material world. Look, you won't let anybody park a car in your yard unless it's a Porsche or a Ferrari. You have this amazing house and you hate your house, you hate your neighbors. Oh, I forget to say that he mentioned that he just got divorced from his fifth wife, and he's not sure if he likes her because she reminds him of his third wife. So she goes, you've been married 5 times. So this tells me you're not enough. So she gives them an exercise to do. And I do this with my patients. So here's one of the first mind hacks. Because I'm going to share with you that if you think you're not running, I'm not enough, I'm going to call your bluff because I run it. I don't know anybody that does not run some version of this, okay, in humanity. We just kind of brought this into when we're born, we get this. And our parents help instill it, and so does society. So she says, I want you to write on your wall, I am enough, like on pieces of paper. I want it to be on your phone. So on my phone, on my iPhone, I have it set in my calendar, and I tell my patients to do this, that twice a day I get an alert that I'm enough to remind me to do that meditation. I'm enough. I have it on my mirror. I am enough. Okay. Anyways, several months go by, and this gentleman seeks her out. She's back in the States. She's working on set, and he goes up to where she was staying, and he's running at her, and she sees him coming. He doesn't tell her he's coming. She goes, oh my God, she recognizes him. What are you doing here? And he goes, I got to tell you how great things are, how I'm enough work. Now, first of all, she recognized that he must have lost 40 pounds. He was quite overweight. And he goes, look at me, look how much weight I've lost. I lost 40 pounds. And he goes on to say, you're not going to believe this, but I am happy. Things are amazing. First of all, I love my house now. I'm not selling my house. And I have my neighbors over once a month now. I enjoy my neighbors. And I sold my cars and I drive a Mini. I love my Mini. And you're not going to believe this, I'm dating a hairdresser. Now, this was significant for him because he only dated celebrities and models. So he was using the outside. He could not fill up himself enough with his awards, with his cars, with his house, with the wives he had. Nothing could fill it because inside he felt I'm not enough. And there's nothing on the outside that's going to fix that for you. What happens for successful people, and I can tell you this was my experience as well, is when you feel that you're not enough, you try to fill that void. So some people do that with a workaholic. Thank you very much. Some people use drug and alcohol. A lot of people use food. We're trying to fill that void. And I can share with you that there's not an amount of cars or spouses or houses, and there's not enough success at work and money that will fill that void. And only when you start to change that program where I'm enough is when you will start to shift. And then things on the outside world start to become congruent as well. And for some, that may mean you have a Ferrari and you make $1 million a year. And for some, that may mean you drive a Mini and you make 90,000 a year, right? It depends on what's going to be successful. The key here is you're going to have joy. You're going to feel joy on the inside and feel joy on the outside. It's going to be congruent. Now, so the first mind hack is simple. Remember, I said it's so simple, it's easy to be dismissed. Now, she's used this. I learned this from Marissa. I use this now as in getting people to put it in their calendar, put it on their screensaver, put it on the walls. I put it on the mirrors. And this is the repetition technique, constantly reminding yourself, I'm enough. Now, there's other techniques I do in clinical practice to help sink this right into your subconscious. However, the rapid technique, not the rapid, the repetition technique can also work. So just do this over time and start to see how this changes. The key is to place it in a lot of places and to pause and remind yourself, I'm enough. And when you can be not embarrassed, so if it shows up on my calendar, you come into my house, you see it on my mirror, I'm not like, oh my God, they're seeing it. It says I'm enough. People ask, what the heck? And I say, yeah, this is a mantra I have. I am enough. And then I explain why I'm so comfortable with it is, first of all, I've been working it a while that I feel I am enough. So I don't get worried about, I don't have fear of criticism from others, or not as much. But also, I realize we're more the same than different. So I'm not worried that I'm the only one that doesn't feel that I'm good enough or successful enough or smart enough. I'm aware that everybody's running this program. And if they're interested enough, most of them are going to go home and do it themselves because people want to feel joy. Now, the other mind hack I want to share with you is the gratitude technique, daily gratitude. And I love a story that I learned from Dan Sullivan. He's from Strategic Coach, and I modified a bit. So this is my version of it. But he shares how if we live in the gap, we start to develop self-doubt, lack of confidence, and we get depressed. And the story he shares is like as if you're going to go on a sailing trip, and if you look out on the horizons, you're at the dock, and you look out onto the horizon, what do you notice? You see where the sky meets the water, right? Now, this is a mental construct. There is no place where the sky meets the earth. It just appears that way. It's a mental construct. And you set for sail, and you sail for hours, you sleep overnight. And when you come back up from sleeping and you look out onto the horizon again, you notice that there's the same distance. That mental construct where the sky meets the ocean hasn't changed. And if you do this on a regular basis, constantly looking forward, then it feels like you're not making any progress. And this leads to self doubt, lack of confidence, and depression. What you do to get out of this gap, the gap is the difference between where you are now and to where you are going. If you're always in the gap, where you are now to where you want to be, that's what causes the self-doubt, the lack of confidence, and depression. However, if you turn around and look at where you've come from, look at the dock and see how far you've come from the land, that's the gratitude practice. That's when you realize you've done some good. And your focus, what you focus on expands. So if you constantly focus on what you're grateful for, then that will start to expand. And we now know through some studies that the wiring in your brain even begins to change. And so if you start to practice gratitude on a daily basis, you will start to change your wiring and your subconscious program will change. And then the lenses that you see through, your subconscious lenses that you see through, you'll start to see the world differently and you'll start to see more opportunities, all from practicing gratitude. So I daily write at least 3 things I'm grateful for. And the key here is to feel the gratitude. It's not just the thought. Affirmations aren't very effective without feeling. The feeling is what puts the charge behind the thought. The thought is the intention, the direction, but the feeling is key. It's what puts it's the vibration. It's what puts the charge. It sends it out into the ether. So if you practice I am enough daily, several times a day, and if you practice gratitude twice daily, once during the day, I write it down. So usually I start my day in the morning and I write 3 things I'm grateful for, 3 original things. And then in the evening, I just review what I'm grateful for in my mind. I don't write down again. And then the next morning, I start again. I write down. And I take a few minutes to feel grateful. They have to be original. So if you have something from yesterday that it still elicits gratitude, write it down because the key is to elicit the feeling. However, now you need 4 items because you need 3 original. And again, practice this every single day. I have a beautiful journal that I keep this in. Which one am I using now? I have one right here. So I always have ones with nice images or quotes. So this is the one I just started at the beginning of September. It says, when you love what you have everything you need. That's gratitude. So I wanted to really stress the importance of practicing gratitude. Yes, it's simple, but it's powerful, effective, and simple. So do not dismiss it. Many people write on this, and we now have science showing how it changes your brain. Myself personally, where the gratitude really resonated for me is I had what on the outside looked like I had it going on. I got a really awesome clinic, AccuBalance in Vancouver. This is many years ago, 2010, 2011, 2009-ish. And so way back when, great family, making a good living, speaking around the world, running healthy seminars. Back then it was Pro D seminars, healthy seminars now. Um, things were going well, but yet on the inside, I was struggling. I definitely was struggling. And what I learned that if you can't feel gratitude, you can't feel joy. So even though I had it going on the outside, I didn't have it going on in the inside. And now I'm grateful for that too, because it gave me my financial success because I felt so empty and insecure on the inside. It drove me and made me overcompensate to do more to try and fill it, and which it never did. Then I found my spiritual practice, and now I get both, right? Now I get it on the outside, which it's fun, and I have it on the inside. And that's really what I want for you, my colleagues as well, is it's nice to have it on the inside and have it on the outside. And you can really enjoy this physical realm in our universe. So practicing I am enough and practicing gratitude are two mind hacks that will help change that program that I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable enough, I am not enough. And as practitioners, we often have this. We call it practitioner imposter or practitioner fraud. In the treatment room, you sometimes feel like you don't deserve to be in there. You're not going to be able to help your patients. You have this fear you're not going to help them, and they're going to find out you don't know as much as they think you know. And there's this sense of I'm not good enough. I'm an imposter. I'm a fraud. I shouldn't be doing this. And medical doctors run this, acupuncturists run this, people I speak to, we all get a version of this or have this at certain times in our life. I used to run that as well, and that's why I study like a machine. I think you heard of my introduction, NLP, Doctor of TCM, CPA, and all these other little certificates that I keep doing. At the beginning, it was because I didn't feel enough. Now I get joy. I've done that rapid transformational therapy program with Marissa Peer. And again, it wasn't like I have to do it. It wasn't coming from lack. It was coming from, I want to do this, not I need to do this. I have to do this. I want to do this. I can't wait to have these added skills that I personally can benefit and I can share with my patients. And so it came from a place of more of abundance and it came from joy. Like I love studying that material. So I am enough and practicing gratitude daily, guaranteed to change the wiring in your brain, and then wait to see how you start to behave differently in the world and how things start to get reflected back to you in your environment differently. And this will bring more health, wealth, and joy into your life, guaranteed. So thank you for listening. I want to let you know that next week on the AAC to the Point is Virginia Duran. So check in to AAC to the Point next week. And thank you very much for listening. Oh, you can check out my website at lornebrown.com as well.